we can get into the next one with some of the nicest little ladies to take on, MMA as a career. When you look at Felicia Spencer and you listen to her talk, I mean, does she look like an animal and a fierce competitor? Maybe not, but she 100% is. When you take a look at this girl's record being 8-2, an ex-Invicta champion, and frankly, Amanda Nunes and Cris Cyborg being your only two losses, are you kidding me? I mean, the girl is an absolute beast on the mat. She loves wrestling. I think the striking is always going to need improvement. But you talk about just how good a girl like Amanda Nunes is. This girl's able to take down most women at will, but she could not take her down. She went 0 for 6 or 7 takedowns. And I think that Amanda Nunes went 6 for 7 on her takedowns and landed over 130 or 140 significant strikes and threw over 200. So it was just a very dominating fight for 5 rounds where Amanda just couldn't finish her. So toughness factor, experience factor. I always talk about in MMA how some losses, if not most losses at this level now, just become learning factors and learning opportunities. Rose Namajunas is a great example of just how you can improve and take on pretty much anybody with the right mindset, right game plan, and right training camp. So I think that Felicia Spencer, without even talking about Norma Dumont yet, is such an interesting case here in this fight, because when you look at her skill set, it's just someone that's really, really seen it all. And I think that when you even, age factor, these girls are the same age, but 8-2 versus a 5-1 with Cris Cyborg and Amanda Nunes as your losses is just a different animal, regardless of how good a 5-1 record can be. So Megan Anderson, let's say it correctly, knocked her out pretty cleanly. How that happened, I mean, let's be real. Norma Dumont was fairly responsible there. I think she came up. This is what I'm talking about. When, great example of the, head down fighter that I cannot stand, because this can happen to you if you don't have a chin of absolute cement. It's just an overhand, head comes down. And then, for a girl like Megan Anderson, who just slips that right hand like it's in slow motion, just nails her with a right hook and drops her completely. The ref doesn't even allow follow-up punches, I don't think, and that fight was ended. So the way I see that, especially coming out of the Ashley Evans fight, where she looked like a great striker, I mean, how good did Ashley Evans Smith look? I was more so concerned about, seeing the early strikes that she was throwing, and then even though she was taking damage, the groundwork ended up coming into play. Norma Dumont looked like she learned a lot in terms of striking going into that fight, because I just like the way I'm not giving her too much credit for the damage that she did, but the damage that she avoided, in terms of just keeping away from the strikes, playing her game all fight long till she was able to get the win. I mean, I think that was a phenomenal fight for her to just get some UFC experience, full 3-round fight. Now, this is a different animal. Felicia Spencer and Ashley Evans Smith are not on the same level when it comes to pure MMA in 2021. You can't convince me. And so with this fight, I would be shocked if Felicia Spencer does not come in as a pretty significant favorite. I think that it's very hard to use the tape on Norma Dumont and come out saying that she has a great chance of beating Felicia Spencer, because for me, I think the wrestling's really good. I think that she's been able to showcase it against most women in the UFC except for Amanda Nunes, and that's why her takedown accuracy sits at 10%. Her takedown defense is at 14% because she gets taken down a lot, like 6 for 7 against Amanda Nunes. So when you think about the rest of her fights, let's eliminate the Amanda Nunes fight. I mean, Felicia Spencer has been fairly dominant outside of that Cyborg fight, right? 122 strikes versus the 38, still a decision win, but the other 2 wins that got her there, the Megan Anderson fight, we just talked about how Megan Anderson was able to finish Norma Dumont with a pretty beautiful counter right hook. But I mean, in their fight, Felicia won via rear naked choke with doing significant damage on the feet. I think that was a phenomenal fight to really showcase how good Felicia Spencer really is, because Megan Anderson was considered, and very recently considered, a title challenger, right? But unfortunately, she fell short of that. And I think that that's where she's also kind of considering career options, things like that. She's got a lot of options, so I think that she's quite happy with where she's at, especially given her own trauma. So Felicia Spencer, long story short, very pure athlete. I think that this woman is in it for the long haul. I think that she's proven that she can take on the best. And if this is anything close to a feeler fight, I think the lines will dictate that. So let's get right into those. And There it is, man. You cannot not think that Felicia Spencer is going to be a -300 to a -350 favorite. I believe that that is an incredible line drop. Wow. Okay. So, I mean, I got to be honest. Norma Dumont, obviously good tape, bringing her down to a +150. I pretty much outlined all the great things that she did against Ashley Evans-Smith, and I think that if she's able to keep the fight standing for the most part, she should be able to do some damage to Felicia Spencer. But is that to drop a line from -350 to -190? I am not so sure. And if this line continues to drop, I'd be very surprised to see if it doesn't kind of go back up come fight time, because maybe some of the, I don't know. Obviously, I'm a little bit more shocked by this line, and I guess I could say that, you know, at -180, -190, I'd definitely be considering Felicia Spencer in a parlay or something like that. But I would hold your horses till you see the weigh-ins, to see how good they look in the face-offs. I mean, women's fights have been what kills most of people's pick'em cards, if you ask me. And so those are the cards where you want to be very careful at this point. That's my advice on pick'ems in general. As always, Saturdays, go check my Instagram account, SookyMMA. You'll always see my pick'ems there. Haven't been doing the greatest since starting and middle points have been phenomenal. Killed the start of the year, then all of a sudden the last little few, I think that the judging in this sport is getting absolutely insane. Maybe the recovery from COVID is screwing everybody up, but I'm saying, jokes aside, I think that this is a great fight for the female, divisions. And in my opinion, I'm shocked that Felicia Spencer got dropped so much to a -190, but I wouldn't be surprised if that one goes back up. But speaking of going back up, let's move up on this